we in the House believe that the public option was the best way to hold the insurance companies honest, to keep them honest, and also to increase competition. If you have a better way, put it on the table.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi among the supporters of the public option, who is at least willing to listen to a reform proposal that doesn't include the public option. Congressman Anthony Weiner, once the clearest voice in the House in favor of the public option, is even further ahead of the Speaker. On this show last night, he said that letting younger people into the existing public program, into the existing public program, Medicare, would be an even more progressive, better policy than the public option as it stands now. Congressman Weiner's argument is bolstered by the fact that the big public option idea had in the last couple of months been compromised down to a blurry little dim shadow of its former self. There is a progressive argument to be made for trading away a small, ineffective policy option in favor of, say, a big expansion of Medicare. There's also a progressive argument to be made, however, against it. Activist Jane Hampshire of FireDogLake.com wrote today of the Senate bill, quote, shoveling taxpayer dollars into too big to fail insurance companies is not the change I voted for. It forces Americans to buy the products of large corporations, then the IRS penalizes them if they refuse. And then earlier tonight on The Ed Show here on MSNBC, Ms. Hampshire made this promise to wavering Democrats.
We negotiated down from single payer, and we've got 65 members of the House who said that they would vote against any bill that doesn't have a public option, and we're going to hold them to that. But we're looking at a situation where we had 88 co-sponsors of H.R. 676, and most of them have headed for the hills. They didn't want to take a stand like that. They were from strong Democratic districts, and when the going gets tough, what they do is enable a bill about which the insurance companies said, we won. They said, Ben Smith reported that the insurance lobbyists are saying about this bill, we won. And if these Democrats vote for that, it can't happen without their help. We're going to be looking to run single-payer candidates against them in their districts.
Jane is not alone in her feelings on this. From MoveOn.org today, there was this. Senate Democrats have just announced a tentative health care deal that doesn't appear to include a real public health insurance option. Instead of pulling out all the stops, they've bargained away the heart of health care reform, allowing conservative senators like Joe Lieberman and Ben Nelson to hold the process hostage and protect big insurance. If the health care bill doesn't include a public option, it'll be a huge giveaway to the insurance companies. Any health care bill without a real public health insurance option is simply unacceptable. So says MoveOn.org. Marcos Melitsas at Daily Kos, the very influential lefty blog, made the case in a graphic metaphor today. He said, quote, we are about to get a turd of a reform package, potentially worse than the status quo. That doesn't sound like something you'd want. Anna points out what appears to be maybe a growing gap between liberal politicians and liberal activists on this subject. And although it is the politicians who make the policies, it is the activists who, frankly, do what's needed to get the politicians elected, or not. Joining us now is former Vermont governor and DNC chair, Dr. Howard Dean. Governor Dean, it's very nice to have you here in person. Thanks for coming in.
The hybrid politician / activist.
I was going to say, and which are you now?
Well, here's the deal. First of all, I think this bill is, as Jane pointed out, a giveaway to the insurance companies. It has been for the beginning, because most of the people were never going to be in the public option. So it's a giveaway to the insurance companies. Anything but a single payer is a giveaway to the insurance companies, plain and simple. Secondly, the Senate bill really does advance the ball. First of all, Medicare is the system they always should have used. There's no point in having two bureaucracies instead of one. Somebody mentioned the I forgot, 776 or whatever it is, Conyers bill for the single payer. Well, that was an expansion of Medicare. This is an expansion of Medicare. The issue is, this is an expansion of Medicare that only goes down to age 55. But it's significant, and it goes into effect a few months after the bill is signed. That's very important. And finally, Jay Rockefeller's amendment, which requires that insurance company pay out 90% of the dollars that they take in for health care. Today, they keep 27% of all the dollars. They can only keep 10%. So there's some significant, there is really reform in the Senate bill, to be fair to the Senate. The House bill, of course, covers more people. It's more affordable. Hopefully these things will be melded. But the idea of using Medicare is a huge step forward And Rockefeller's restrictions on the insurance company is a huge step forward.
In terms of the negotiations here, in terms of the worry about what giving up the public option is going to do, I know the process here is sort of push me, pull you a little bit. We don't exactly know even what has been given to the CBO. We don't exactly know we're going to get a CBO score. We don't exactly know what's going to be the final bill that's going to be voted on. But is it right to worry that by conceding the public option right now without assurances that the Medicare thing is going to happen, liberals could be giving away something important to them for a promise rather than an agreement?
Yes, and the House is the safety valve for that, because if the Senate reneges, if the four people who agree, or whatever it was, the number of the moderate, quote-unquote moderate Democrats renege on their agreement, the whole thing is off. There's no necessarily support for the progressive community. What I've told folks, and I've spent a lot of time talking to some of these folks that are doing this, is look, don't double cross us. Don't lead us down the garden path and hang us out to dry, because if you do, we're going to be gone and we'll never come back. And then all the things that Jane predicted are going to happen. Right now the Democratic core base, and we're not talking about the left wing or the progressive, we're talking about 70% of the Democrats are demoralized by what's going on in health care. And that's going to affect everybody, whether you're Ben Nelson or whether you're Sherrod Brown. And it's going to cost us a heck of a lot of seats in 2010.
Is that why the timing is so important, that something happens and goes into effect in 2010?
Well, that's right. There's two reasons the timing is important. Some has to go into effect in 2010 for two reasons. One, it's the moral thing to do. Two, it counteracts the Republican propaganda. The Republicans can tell as many lies as they have been for that last year about this bill as they want, but if it actually is in effect, suddenly some of these neighbors are going to say, well, I've been in the program for 6 months. I guess I haven't been called to the death panel yet. Or, and I'm still seeing the same doctor I always saw. That puts the lie to all of this stuff. I learned that when I did civil unions, which caused a huge uproar. And once it actually went into effect, lo and behold, Vermont was not the AIDS capital of the world, and sixth graders didn't come home having been taught how to be gay by the teachers union. And all this stuff that floats around when controversial change happens, the way to put the lie to all the propaganda is just to do it. And that's a really important thing. And thirdly, if this thing goes into effect in 2010, it will give us a glide path to how to do this right. I'm excited about the Senate bill. It is a lot of shortcomings, and it should insure more people and subsidize them, but it really is a breakthrough.
And it does, and it sounds like what you're sort of issuing is a call for liberals who are concerned right now to stay on this, so to make sure that
the heat on. I agree with Jane Hampshire, even though we don't agree with the fundamentals of exactly where we are. We need her out there. We need these folks out there pushing hard on this. We can't lose this now.
Former Vermont Governor and Democratic Party Chairman Howard Dean, it's really nice to have you here in person. Thanks for coming in.
Glad to be back. Your job's a lot harder than mine, I discovered.
You did great. Don't you worry.